Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Make sure to follow me on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. Subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken 5 Plus app. Why are we back here on Locked On Spurs? Well, simply because the news just came out that the Spurs, De'Aaron Fox, have agreed to a max deal, and this is via ESPN's Sham. Yes, the deal is broken down like this: 4-year, $229 million. That's basically securing him and his immediate future in San Antonio. Now, for the number to break, the extension will begin after this season. So it'll start in the 26-27. And the way it's broken down via Bobby Marks, ESPN, 26-27 season, $51 million. Following season, $55.1. Third season of the extension, $59.2 million. And in the final year of the extension, it's 63.6. Total is about $229 million. So there you have it. And by the way, this Fox is owed $37.1 million. Basically, this does, Now, interesting note, the beginning of Fox's extension, which is, again, the following season, 26-27, that is the last year of Wemby's current contract. Again, that's going to be Marks of ESPN. So needless to say, the Spurs have secured two cornerstone pieces. Look, let's just face it. They're going to give Wemby the extension, right? So they have their two building blocks secured, ready to go moving forward. Now the Spurs have players that can build around, not just Wemby, but Wemby and Fox. Obviously, the key to all this is these two guys. Wemby has not played a full NBA season, or at least close to it, since entering the league. And, of course, Fox was out for a good chunk of the last season due to a finger injury, but both should be ready to go moving forward. First of all, this sends a signal, I should say, to Wemby, more importantly, and to Fox, too, that they're willing to do whatever it takes to keep these players around. It's a signal to Wemby that, look, we're giving you an all-star point guard, someone to build around. And it also sends a signal to the rest of the league that San Antonio could be a destination team with Fox and Wemby at the helm. Moving forward, this is Fox. And again, to push you forward, you might ask yourself, well, did he deserve one? Did he deserve a max deal? There were some critics saying that maybe he doesn't. But overall, I believe he does. First of all, since entering the league till now, outside of last season because he was injured with the finger, he showed a consistent level of high production on the offensive end. He's obviously an all-star caliber player. So there's that check. Second of all, even though he did not play as many games he did for the Spurs last season, still averaged 19.7 points per game, 6.8 points assists per game, and 4.3 rebounds. Again, that was with a bum finger. So imagine him coming back 100%. Actually pretty good. You're looking at a guy who hovers around 23 point game, a career release since entering the league. And with Fox, his speed, his intangibles, remember, he is a pretty good defender. Again, they call him Swipe on the Fox for a reason. He let, one of the better steal leaders in the NBA. He gives you a punch on both ends of the court. He does have playoff experience. It seems the Spurs will be already knocking on that play-in or playoff door, perhaps as soon as next season. That's for another valuable, checklist, bucket list you would check off for Fox moving forward for the Spurs. Sure, maybe he's limited at the 3 line. Hovered around 33% career-wise, but just overall, his offensive gravity, his ability to get into the lane, pick and roll, create his own shot, the speed, play downhill. Defensively, he can be a little bit of a pest there. Overall, I can see why the Spurs gave him a max deal and nothing short of that. And think about this, too. He wanted to come to San Antonio. He wanted out of Sacramento, and he had San Antonio in mind. And they did it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was kind of a wink, nudge deal, or at least a verbal commitment to Fox that, hey, when it's time for your extension, we got your back. Obviously, the Spurs did. Again, 1.5 steals per game, and that's pretty good for Fox. And you look at him; he's probably in his peak performance years. So you're definitely getting him at the right time to help push forward in the playoff situation. And speaking of that, I mentioned that he does have a playoff experience. One of the few on the roster. It's just him, Barnes, Olynyk, and and Cornette. So there you go. So you add another person on the street with that playoff experience, which leads to the leadership, team impact. Overall, he will be perhaps one of the veteran players. The younger players will lean on, your Castle, your Harpers. So there's that as well. Now, obviously, you're looking at the league overall. A lot of the top point guards, get top dollar. Look at Tyrese Halliburton. Look at Brunson. Those are examples right there where you're seeing a lot of guards getting this kind of payout. You're now a bucks. Think about this too. He's only 27 years old. He's 27 years old, and he's starting to do that peak already. He's knocking on the door. He's barely starting his peak days ahead of him. So you're getting him in his prime with 1 year left on his current deal, and then the extension kicks in next season. And overall, it's just a signal to him that the franchise believes in him, confidence in his fit. Sure, say what you will about the 3-guard lineup, but nevertheless, as far as him just individually, because this is just about him right now, it's just a good thumbs up, vote of confidence from the Spurs to Fox, Clutch Sports, that we believe in this guy, we believe in his fit, we believe, why we made the deal with Sacramento to bring him here. It all makes sense, and yeah, away we go. And just overall too, again, just last season aside, he's been a pretty durable player since entering the league, averaging about 70 games, a little bit more than that since his rookie season until now. So he gives you offensive punch. He is reliable. He is durable. He's a proven scorer. He's a proven commodity. It made sense, and you can see why the Spurs gave him that extension. So you put all that together, right? Age, skill set, on-court impact, defensive impact, offensive impact, barely 27 years old, proved himself in the limited sample size we got last year where, he did produce a number on court there. It is justified to see why the Spurs made such a big investment in De'Aaron Fox and why keeping him was the top of their list and giving him the extension. Can you imagine if they didn't give him the extension or give him something short or less than the extension? I might have said, well, considering he left an organization that in his opinion was, borderline dysfunctional, I guess, so imagine going from that to San Antonio and then it happened. It just would have been a bad mix. So a good thing that was avoided. Look, we're going to get more into this extension tomorrow on Locked On Spurs. I believe Casey Vera will be back to talk about the ins and outs, more into the financial cap ramifications. What does it mean for contracts moving forward? We're going to get into all that tomorrow, but that's a quick react. Overall, I'm going to give the extension, an 8. An 8. Hopefully it also gives Fox a little bit more motivation to produce more and to be, the player that they believe the Spurs, obviously they believe. They give him this bunch of bucks today. He can't be that fit moving forward. So overall, great fit on the court, off the court, financially, we'll get into that tomorrow. But hey, Spurs did right by Fox. Let me know what you think. You can let me know on XFG Spurs Zone. And I should have subscribed to Locked On Spurs where you get your favorite podcast.